Hello guys and welcome back to War Thunder. This time we will be taking a look at the 1.49 dev server and some of its new vehicles and maps. On screen you will see a bunch of new vehicles. These are not all aircraft and tanks that are added. This is only those available for the first time that the dev server is up. So more will come later. I may have missed some vehicles. In case I have, you can tell me in the comments below. There are also some vehicles that I found in the CDK on the 1.49 dev version that are not available in the tech trees. So I am sure those will be available sometime later. Here are some vehicles that I have missed. This is the SU-57. This is a Lend-Lease vehicle from Russia. It has the 57mm cannon. I believe it is the same that the ZIS-30 uses. This is the T34E. It has added armor on the front. It also has a different turret. It is very similar to the first T34, apart from those two things. I could not find any new planes in the UK tree. There are, however, a lot of them in the CDK. The same goes for the Japanese. I could not find any new planes in the tech tree, but I could find 3 new planes in the CDK. Now that we have taken a look at some of the new vehicles, let's check out some of the maps as well. First off, Normandy. I have purchased the half-track with the 75mm gun, using some Golden Eagles that I had spare. Any Golden Eagles that you use on the dev server will not be used on the real server. You will still have them. The half-track does seem pretty fast. It has a slow turret traverse time, but it has a pretty fast reload time, and it can point its gun very far down, so it has very good gun depression. As you can see down to the left, we have the beach. This is obviously after the British stormed the beaches, and they seem to have already been in Normandy. For some reason, Gaijin have decided that the British and the Germans won't be fighting each other from the sea and from land, rather both driving alongside the shore. Why, I am not sure. It is probably because of balancing reasons, but I am sure that they could work out some way of balancing a match where the British and Americans attack from the sea and the Germans defend from inland. As you can see, there are some barrage balloons up there. I was quite surprised to see that I was able to shoot at them. I was able to point my gun very high up. Apparently it takes 2 shots with 75mm AD to kill these barrage balloons. Usually you can kill them with this one single bullet from the smallest rifle on planes, but it took 2 75mm shots. I'm sure they are working on that. As you can see, this map is very bright and colorful. It is not what you imagine war would be like, but I guess sometimes they have sunny days too. The buildings do not appear to be destructible. We were shown in August last year that you were able to destroy the buildings on the map Poland, but apparently they have yet to implement that feature. As you can see, that antenna on the right side of the cabin is very tall. I have never seen an antenna that tall. Let's try to shoot down one of these barrage balloons using high explosive instead, and see if that works better. Apparently you set them on fire and then they explode a second later. So as you can see, you can point the gun very far up. This part of the map looks nothing like the shoreline part. There are lots of bushes and huge open areas, and I would really like to know what it looks like in low settings. Therefore, we will jump into another game where I have loaded ultra low settings just to find out what it looks like. Okay, so let's take out the M26E1. This is a premium tank. Its turret rotation time is insane. As you can see, you can just wave it back and forth. It has a long experimental gun. It doesn't look great, these graphics, but you can at least not see through all the bushes. That machine gun sounds new. Almost getting bombed by an Arado. This is in arcade battles. The previous game was in realistic, just so you know. It is obviously a lot easier to shoot at targets in arcade since they have target markers over their head. In realistic or simulator battles it will be a lot more difficult. And as you can see there, the turret rotation time is monstrous. Okay, so now that I have gotten knocked out by an IS-2, let's check out the next map. This is a map that will be dominated by heavy tanks. The Tiger II is a perfect tank for this map. Although slow, it has good armor and its gun can shoot at long range, which is exactly what is needed for this kind of map. It is very open and it is very flat, so there is not a lot of cover. You start in a village, you drive over a large field. As soon as you get out of this village, you're able to see the enemy spawn. So I can imagine there are a lot of people dying to, well, getting shot just a minute into the game. Eastern Europe has this issue on some game modes, where you can shoot from one spawn to the other. As you can see, there are AIs on this map, something I am not a fan of. I have never liked the AIs in War Thunder. I would have preferred them never to exist. Especially these ones, these low tier, you know, like the Panzer IIs and the T26s. They are just there to annoy you. Here you can see that you are able to shoot straight into the enemy spawn. It is perhaps 2 or 3 kilometers there, but it is still possible to shoot the enemy as they are coming out of their spawn. Each team starts in a village, then A and B flags are in another village in the middle, and then the C flag is out in the forest. I don't expect G sectors to, what is it, K sectors, ever to be visited by tankers. They are so far off that I see no point going there, unless you want to just hide. All the new tank maps are accompanied by plane maps as well. I will show the last map from the air too, but mainly to show off the cockpit of the HS-129. now rolling up until the village. The houses are scattered. You do not get a lot of cover, but it is very much possible to hide. And your best way of getting kills is taking a fast medium tank, going as far as possible, then hiding behind one of these houses, just waiting for the enemy to show up and drive by. The enemy will believe, at least in realistic battles and simulated battles, that you have shot them from the front, that there is an enemy up ahead, when you instead shoot them from the side. As you can see, the AIs are heading into town as well. I would have preferred, well, the best option would have been no AI at all, but I would have preferred them to stay out of town at least, not go near the cap circles. One of the new features in War Thunder is that, or well, one of the changes to the features in War Thunder is that they have changed the way you see what components of the enemy that you have damaged. Instead of the clear list that you had before, that was very easy to read, now you see only one component that you have knocked out. In my last shot you saw that I knocked out the driver, but in the X-ray you also saw that I knocked out his fuel tank. Perhaps even his motor. This is not a change for the better, and I would like them to change it back. It may not obstruct the view as much. There you can see I knocked out 3 things, but it's still very hard to read, especially when in battle. I would like the previous 1.47 way of seeing what components you could do damaged instead. Now onto the last map, Berlin. This is a much smaller map. I believe it is 2 kilometers across. This is another map that will be heavily dominated by heavy tanks. There are a lot of open areas, not much cover, and no grass at all. Everything is dead. The trees are dead, burnt up, and there is nothing on the ground. Even if it is historically accurate that Berlin burned, this is not something that is visually enjoyable. It feels like it feels as if I am playing on ultra low graphics, even on high or high plus graphics. I feel that the frame rate is better overall on all maps. Even on Normandy with all the bushes and all the grass, the frame rate was steady. This doesn't look as good as all compared to Normandy. I think they could have done something more exciting. I believe that what they have done for this mode, or this map rather, is they took the Berlin map from the realistic aircraft battles and took out one block right in the center and just plops down ground forces map. So they are probably using the same map that they already have. It would be a bit silly to make a whole new map when you already have most of it complete. In the middle of the map there is a lake or a river or something. There is a bridge over it. I expect this map should be good for high tier heavy tanks, at least if you are firing straight, or if you're only showing the front of your tank. Be careful with flanking. The map is small and the map is very open, but I think you are able to go around the sides. Coming up here will be the best shot you have ever seen. The 88mm L71 cannon, firing straight into the front of an M2A2 and it bounces. Yeah. Over here is the enemy spawn. That is a tram. Quite nicely modeled actually. I don't know if it serves any purpose. I don't know if it counts as cover, if you can hide behind it, or if shots just pass through it. It is, by the way, impossible to cross that bridge, at least in a Tiger. You will just fall off the side and into the water. I have tried. Okay, so now let's check out the Berlin map from the air in the HS-129B2. As you can see, it looks much like the good old Berlin 1945 map. And here you can see the cockpit. All the gauges on the engines are actually functioning. So if you want to know if they are overheating or not, then you have to look out the window, which is historically accurate. Now that this plane has a model cockpit, I really hope to see it in the simulator battles, in the events. And as you can see, there is quite a difference between the three parts of the city divided by the river. The quality of the ground is a lot better on the tech map. Another new feature in 1.49 is that you can see X-rays of your plane, just like you can of the tanks when in battle. This feature was available in the 1.47 dev server, but it wasn't implemented. So if it is implemented or not in 1.49 is, well, we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. If you want to download the dev server launcher, link will be in the description, and also a page where you can see the schedule.